Harlot Hotline is recorded on stolen land. We acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. It always was and it always will be Aboriginal land. I'm June Jones, and this is Harlot Hotline, where S workers and industry aligned baddies drop the act and say what we really think. My next guest, Basjia, is a creative force rooted in S-work, ballroom, and community. Now, as a white woman, I want to mention that so much of the current S-work culture, the aesthetics, the attitude, it was built by black, brown, and queer S-workers like Basjia. She's a performer, casting director, and movement artist. And when Basjia enters a space, she doesn't just show up, she shifts the whole room. Thank you so much for joining us, Basjia.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
It's so nice to see you visually. I haven't been able to catch
Finally.
you every time you're in Melbourne. It's been a bit
Famous
tricky.
for 5 seconds. I'm in, I'm out. That's it.
Yes. How are you feeling today, my love?
Yes, I'm feeling really good actually. Like I'm pretty much kind of in the middle of going through the applications for Pyramid today's. Like have just put a pause in that while the other people who are making the decision are going through. But yeah, feeling really great, inspired, excited.
Well,
Yeah,
inspired. We love to hear that.
for real.
So tell me a little bit about Pyramid and how that kind of came about and what that's looking like for you now.
Completely. So I made Pyramid like because, I've been a worker for a couple years now and like the experience that we have in the club, like actually I've been for like how many years? Maybe 6 or 7 now. I've just noticed that the culture in Australia is like really interesting because as a black woman, like existing in those spaces, you're not as celebrated as white workers are in that space. People really only talk to you if they have a fetish or, it's never just based on you. You make less money. You deal with a lot of racism. You deal with exoticism.
Mm.
And I noticed that was not just my own experience. It was the experience of like a lot of other Black, Indigenous, and POC workers in the clubs, as well as the fact that, a lot of queer bodies don't really get to even access certain sex work spaces because of how they appear or what the expectation is for you to be like able to, either be a stripper, like, or, work in the club versus, whether you do private work or even whether, you're going through an agency. There's so many expectations for queer bodies to meet a certain set of standards that, that's not possible and that's just not who we are. I've performed in similar events, that are centered around like celebrating queer bodies, celebrating sex workers, and, incorporating like that strip club culture into those spaces so that people are paid and celebrated. But I really wanted this to be BIPOC centered because whilst, they exist, I do think that there is a difference when the entire lineup is BIPOC. And
Yeah,
as somebody
absolutely.
as somebody who's also a performer, like I'm always like the one person of color that will be on a lineup or,
Right.
one of two, whereas the rest of the lineup will be completely white, or white passing.
I think from an outsider perspective, it's also just really beautiful to see that the narrative is taken back as well. So it's
Completely.
being held by you, like a person of
Yeah.
color, a black woman, instead of narrated by a white person that's
Down.
able to enter into all these other events, other systems, other clubs, all of that.
Yeah,
It's
they have a lot more advantage. But even more so like that as well, because on the back end of it, it's not even just about like I'm creating this event and, putting these people on the lineup so that they can just perform. Like I'm, mentoring certain people before they step on. Like we're talking about our experiences as BIPOC, sex workers and performers in this industry and being able to all relate to each other. There's like a different level of care, responsibility, and understanding that happens when we create these spaces for each other
Yeah.
and by each other. Like, yeah, there's just a real sense of connection there that I don't think is, always, that doesn't always exist in spaces that were created by white people for everybody else. And that's not to
Yeah.
be like disrespectful, but like, I just think more so it's true. Like, we can see each other, we understand each other's experience in the greater
Yeah,
world.
absolutely. Yeah, you can respect each other's lived experience and
Yeah.
platform the good
Yeah.
and the bad and morph that into what's going to work for you. Because as an outsider, as a white woman, I can see that it's like trying to fit into usually a white male's standards when you enter
Yeah.
into these club, like, generic
Completely.
and how's
Completely.
that really doesn't benefit anyone, I feel, in my opinion.
No
It's just
one.
this cookie cutter 1950s style kind of like, this is our ideal idea of
Woman or
perfection, and it's,
person.
a white 18-year-old femme
We're in
presenting that.
Australia as well. We're literally in Australia. Like, this country was built on like diminishing black people and people
Mhm,
of color.
mhm.
Like, so of course their beauty standard is not us.
Mm,
Yeah, I always found it so difficult. And working in the club and seeing, the experiences of others, and also just feeling it myself, being like, oh, I made less because of how I look, but I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, so what the
mm,
fuck. But that's why that was a big motivator for me, to be like, oh, we actually can do the things that we do and still be celebrated. And then also on top of that, be paid, like be
yeah,
paid, because
yeah.
we get paid. Like, it's like motivation to make sure my performers are paid fairly, the same way that they should be in the clubs.
Mhm.
Paid for their work, paid for their time, paid for their energy, their beauty,
Mm,
their essence, like all of that, and like paid accordingly. Where
mhm,
it's not even just like, oh yeah, you just get a little bit of money to, or you're getting half of what is given. Like, you're getting
mm.
almost all of it.
Yeah. I think it's also it's frustrating to see how that, especially in strip world kind of culture these days, the culture is very like centered off African American, like black culture, and then you see like
Completely.
white girls really emulate that, and
Yeah.
then
Without even any acknowledgement of the
no
roots.
acknowledgement, and then people of color are just getting pushed to the side, where you guys can't actually represent that culture, where it is the culture, but
Yeah.
you've got all these people that are just kind of blackfishing.
Yeah. Like, it's interesting. I saw this post the other day where somebody was talking about pole dance came from strippers. Like, let's respect that. And I remember writing on that post, like, let's also acknowledge that, this pole dance that you're talking about that people
Mhm,
emulate today came from black strippers in America,
mhm,
specifically
mhm,
in the clubs. Like, where do
mhm.
you think the word exotic came from? Black and POC strippers, like, who were working in the clubs back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, the response to that wasn't even like, oh, it was kind of like, oh, but we're in Australia, it's so far removed. I'm like, no, it's not.
Is
Like,
it though?
you would not be shaking your ass and bouncing your hips, body rolling. Like,
Yeah,
that does not
yeah,
come from
the
white pole
twerking.
dance.
Yeah, no,
The
and it's
twerking, the
so
aesthetic,
yeah, the whole, like, "If you pay me," the whole, like, nail click, like, so much of
everything.
this current perception of sex work culture has been cherry-picked from Black culture.
Yeah, the nails, the teeny tiny bikinis. Like, yeah, it's kind
So
of
I could
crazy.
it's nice that maybe that's the wrong way to say it. I'm happy to see that you're able to create a space and provide a space for people that are not being respected or uplifted as much as they should be within those clubs.
For real.
So what is Pyramid looking for you like now?
So honestly, it's just evolved since we started, like
And how long has it been for?
2 years. I
Oh,
actually did this a long time ago, Pyramid. I tried to start it ages ago, but it was just for one night, but it was a completely different vibe. Like, it still had the same, essence, where I wanted to platform only BIPOC, but it became so much more in the last few years. Like, I took a second for it to like marinate on what I really wanted it to be. And then, yeah, I was just like, after performing in things very similar, I was like, oh, well, I actually I want to make something of my own where it's for us, and like we get paid, we appreciate it, we get to actually share our art. Even more so, like the audience is such a significant part to the event, because the
Yeah.
audience we invite in is like, we have some amazing allies, we have amazing sex workers who attend, and then we also have like BIPOC, who is what I really have wanted to see in the audience too, because like you have BIPOC performers, you then have their friends and their family, or like their, people who are out of their chosen family and stuff like that, who are also part of those communities. Yeah, so the audience is really important, and like having people in the audience who are, BIPOC is significant, because they see the energy, they feel the energy,
Yeah.
like they give it back, and even having sex workers in the audience, same vibe, like they give it back, they tip. Oh my God, the girls know how to tip, the workers know how
Yeah.
to tip, like
Oh, I
that's
was
so
actually so
fabulous.
gutted that I couldn't come to the one in Melbourne. I was
It
lying
was
in bed
crazy.
with my baby because she's teething, and it was like
Yes.
10:30, and I was like, I want to
Oh,
go so bad,
babe,
but like
we
I feel
started at
Asian
midnight.
right
Fair,
now.
you're a mother. You're
Midnight,
a
I'm too
mother.
old for midnight.
I'm too old for
But like I
midnight.
promise I'll be at the next one.
Please.
I had my shoebox of like saved cash that me and my
Oh,
partner
you're
save for
so
when we go to the strip
sweet.
club, and I just was like, oh, I just want to shower everyone in cash. So I was so gutted.
Next one, next one.
I'm there, don't worry. But I definitely I could even feel the energy from the videos I saw, and I
Yeah.
can only imagine that having that reflective community of like who's on stage reflect into the audience, it would just be such a beautiful energy to be a part of. And I had the fortunate chance of meeting some of the performers when they've popped into store this week, and every single one was not only just stunning, but just like, oh, they just made my day. Do you know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah.
really beautiful souls.
They really are. They are. Like, that's
Yeah.
also just another part that I love about it. I get to meet other people who, other dancers, other performers, other queer people, other people of color, who just, yeah, we get to connect in such a way where we share our experiences. And, it's not always a full sex worker lineup. I always have allies, like, and those are BIPOC performers who are like genuinely supportive of those communities, and like it's just so beautiful to see us all intersect and just understand each other. And
Yeah.
even backstage, I always love watching everyone backstage. I love watching everyone watch each other when they perform. Like it really is so magic. Like everything that's happening with this is just like more than what I could have dreamed, and
Oh, that's
it's
so
expanding so
beautiful.
much.
Yeah, I can't. I'm like such a fan. I'm like I fangirl of you so hard, and I like love seeing the expansion of it, and I'm so excited to see what's coming next
Me
because it's just like
too.
a constant evolution, and
Down completely.
we need it. Like
Yes,
it feels
absolutely.
so organic, and it feels
Yeah,
like even I didn't even get to come to the one in Melbourne, but if just from what I've seen, it feels like a hug,
it was beautiful.
Creating those spaces is so important for me,
Yeah.
and I can see the
Yes.
importance for the rest of the community. So like thank you.
Thank
Huge
you.
thank
I
you.
appreciate you. You're such a wonderful support for this. Like it means a lot. And to have, the support is everything, from everyone around in the community. It makes it so special. It's not just a business. It's not just an event. Like I really want to build it as like this becomes so much more than just one event or an event that exists. Like it's like building a community where people can find friends, find
Yeah.
other people who are a part of this,
Yeah.
find
Find your
mentors,
family, find your
confidence.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
So moving from, I guess, club experiences, and I know we've had a couple of conversations about pole studio experiences.
Mm, mm.
What are some of the experiences that you've taken on, either positive or negatively, that have kind of shaped the way that you've evolved Pyramid?
Yeah. I mean, look, so I'm going to first of all plug this survey that El Diablo, and I are circulating a survey at the moment. El Diablo is the one of the owners of Bottoms Up,
Mhm.
and in Nam, and we've had a lot of chats as well. I've had a lot of chats with a lot of people who, they're workers who also exist in the pole community, and like all the things that we experience that feel really like uncomfortable and confusing and confronting, and like wanting to understand that this is a culture that continues, that hasn't really been shifted or changed or called in to like, and not even called in, because I feel like they get called in, called out every other week for some bullshit that they do. But like, I think
Yeah.
it's more like they're not really listening, or they don't know
Mhm.
how to make these spaces comfortable for workers. They don't have the tools.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not, from my point of view, they struggle to listen to the feedback.
They can't listen to it's like, I think that there's a lot of fear around being criticized, but I'm like, how can you evolve if you don't
Mm.
get criticized? Like, how can you work on, like, you can't try and create spaces that is meant to be about, celebrating a community when it's actually really a scene.
Mm.
It's not a community if you're not listening to voices within that, and it's
Yeah.
not a community if you're making it exclusive and making it like pushing out people who are actually marginalized, pushing out people who actually like, work within the roots of that um,
Mm.
practice. Like, how can you make spaces for pole but not make it comfortable for workers when like they're the
Yeah.
ones who, like, you wouldn't have pole without the workers,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have all the sexy shit that you get to do. It's a part of the history. Like, you wouldn't have the aesthetic without them.
Exactly. And maybe for people who are not aware of some of these things that we're talking about, there has been a lot of online discussions, a lot of kind of outcry about pole fit studios
Mm,
cosplaying the ideas of like being a worker, and that comes
completely.
with holding pole fit competitions
Mm-hmm.
within the club, operating
Yeah.
clubs,
Yeah.
taking up sex worker spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and just general not really respecting where the heart of pole kind of originates.
Yeah,
Maybe
or
you could
listening to
explain a
when
little bit
people,
more about that as well.
yeah, I mean, look, there's issues within the community, like not even just within comps, but comps are, I think, the one thing that has brought most of the things to the forefront in the last couple of months, I would say. But I know that, there's issues within a lot of pole studios that also exist, and like that in itself is really difficult to even like combat, because there's so many pole studios, and like, they pole studios themselves pride themselves on being about communities, but it's like, do you care about the marginalized people within those communities? If not, they're
Yeah,
just businesses, and like at the end of the
exactly.
day, pole studios are businesses, they're not really communities.
Yeah,
That's just a
fact.
fact. It's a
It's
fact.
a
What
fact.
can I
It can be a
say?
business, not
Yeah.
necessarily business and community. Hmm.
You can't, it's difficult, like, but yeah, so when it comes to the pole comps, and especially just in my experience, in the last year, and like, have never, it took me a minute to even consider existing in pole comps, because I just saw them and I just saw a lot that I was like, oh, this is very not my vibe, and this doesn't look like it really actually is supportive of strippers, or it just allows for people to, get to take from that, culture without acknowledging where it came from, or everyone can, portray that essence or that energy, but it's like you don't even have that experience,
Mm.
so I was skeptical to enter, and I've had entered a few that, and honestly, it's just confirmed to me, like, I don't like it.
They're
I
not
don't
for
like
you.
them. They're not for me.
Was there any? I know we've had this conversation
Yeah.
about, maybe I'm not sure if it was the last competition that maybe you did with a pole
Second last
studio.
one.
Yeah, where
Yeah, so it wasn't even a pole studio. It was like, it was I want to say worker run event. So that was my first thing, because competitions that I have always like felt a little bit more comfortable gravitating towards have been worker run ones like Express by Paige Cooper. I love her comp. And I've competed in MX Showbay before. So I've always thought that, if I enter ones that are ran by or led by workers, then surely like it will be comfortable. It'll be a space where, I'll be uplifted and yeah, I just won't feel off, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't the last one I did. Like it was one around the start, I want to say mid start of the year, and it was held in a strip club. And I was skeptical about that, especially coming off the back of another pole comp that got criticized for being in a strip club. So wanted to make sure. I was like, oh, is this event, because it was not a stripper event. It was pole and workers were both able to enter. It was
Yeah.
a freestyle pole competition, and like I'm a freestyler. Like that's that's majority of what I do when it comes to pole.
Yeah.
I'm a
Feels me
worker.
too.
Freestyle is
I'm not a
our way
choreo
of
gal.
pole. Yeah, you can't choreo in the clubs. You can't choreo in
Yeah.
the clubs. So I was like, this is
I'm
fabulous. I
not
get
the
to do
choreo
it.
queen.
Yeah,
The clubs can attest to that.
no one can curry in the clubs. Like that's just not how it works. But yeah, so I guess I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I get to do what I do best in the space. And I liked the idea like you weren't going to know your song until the time that you were going to perform to it. I was like, that's cool. Then I, wanted to confirm like that the use of it being in a club would not be
Impact
harmful to the
workers.
impact workers. I didn't want that because, yeah, I
Just
would
as a
never want to
side
do that.
note, the other issue recently was a pole fit studio. They held a competition in a strip club on the busiest night of the week, which was a Saturday.
Busiest Saturday,
So
busiest
yeah,
night down.
and it really affected a lot of dancers for the
Yep,
night.
completely. And I can understand even the income, but also just like
Well-being.
their well-being,
Yeah,
like,
their privacy.
their privacy, all those things. And I was concerned about that. But, I spoke to the organizer. They're like, yeah, we're going to do everything we can. It's not on a night where the workers are in. It's not even, the club isn't even open on that night. Like,
Okay, yeah.
we're going to, make sure we're moving with caution and like, especially coming off the back of what had already just happened. So I felt really affirmed in that. I was like, okay, cool. It's like, it's going to be fine. And, this is a freestyle competition. Like, we're just there to dance. We're just there to play. It's always a bit, funny if you're going to have people who are not workers dancing in a comp that is in a strip club, because it's like, don't blur those lines when you're performing. Don't
Yeah.
blur those lines. Like, make sure you're dancing exactly how you would dance in your pole comps or in your studio. Don't try and emulate the workers just because you're in their house,
Sometimes they just want to feel the fantasy.
Sometimes everybody does. That's the thing. Like, even when women come into the clubs, like some of them want to feel the fantasy as fucking like they're just there to watch, but they want to all of a sudden like tap into it. It's like, but
But please keep your top on. Like, leave it to the professionals. We're trying to make money,
this is our
babes.
work. This is literally our workspace. Like,
Yeah.
please sit down, respect us, respect the space, because you want all to live that fantasy, but you don't understand all the hardship that goes on behind the scenes of that. Like, you get to see the glamour of this, and
Yeah.
there's so much more than just the glamour, like so much more.
Mm.
So yeah, I was feeling comfortable to do this, as comfortable as one can be. And it just was not a vibe. And I felt really uncomfortable. Like, I felt uncomfortable in my own way. I was the only Black person in the competition, which, that's not everyone's fault, because, there isn't a lot of Black dancers who either are out or who either exist in or want to enter comps or want to be in the pole world, which I fully understand. But I was the only Black person there. There was a lot of music that is Black music. We're in the club. Everyone's, pulling out these Black, performance moves, shaking their ass, twerking, like all the shit that comes from Black culture. No acknowledgement of it, of course, because no pole studios or no pole comps ever talk about that route, ever. Ever, unless you personally as a teacher decide to bring that in. And I do, for every time I introduce a class, we always talk about the roots. But yeah, like, it was already uncomfortable to me in that sense, but that is the pole world. So I should have known better to just be like, okay, I'm going to, see people doing this. But it was more so like exactly what I just said. Like, people started getting the lines blurred of like, you're in a you're in a club, and now you're dancing like you're trying to be a worker. And
Yeah.
people were taking their clothes off, I was like, I didn't know that this was even allowed. Like,
Yeah,
that shouldn't even be allowed in a pole competition. You're never in the
yeah,
history of pole comps, like in stripper comps, sure. And that's in, like,
because that's
the
you're in the
guidelines, it's written,
yeah, you're
it's
in
a
the
part of
S
the
worker
job.
environment. It's a prerequisite for the job is
It's a
to get
part of the
naked.
job.
But when you
Yes.
told me that people were
Pole
getting
comps,
naked in a pole comp,
not allowed.
I
Not allowed.
I was just like my jaw dropped to the floor. I still
Completely.
don't think I've fully gathered myself from hearing that,
Completely nude, full nude. Like,
which is just
the
wild to me because was
insane.
this if it was this information shared with you prior? Like were there boundaries and consent? Was that ever spoken about?
Let's talk about the information I received before, because I had wrote an email afterwards listing all the things that I found really uncomfortable, disrespectful, like wrong on so many levels. I saw so many people who A, either weren't workers, or B, who were, both feel pressured to take their clothes off. And I'm
That
like,
is horrible.
workers know better, because we know we don't take our clothes off in a pole competition for free. Why would I do that? And also,
Mm-mm.
why is there an expectation to now for me to perform in a way that I would at work when I just wanted to do a pole comp and freestyle dance?
Yeah.
Like, that's uncomfortable. That was not only me, that was multiple workers who said they felt uncomfortable or felt silly for taking their clothes off because they felt this pressure from the crowd and the competition of it all.
That is horrible.
It was awful. And then, like, seeing even people who were not workers feel the pressure to take off their clothes. I'm like, I know you would never take off your clothes in a pole comp, and you probably don't feel comfortable pulling your titties out, even though, like, you
It's
feel like
so
you had
wild
to.
to me because the whole point of that type of performance and getting naked is you're providing a service and
Yeah,
entertainment. So you're
yeah,
only getting naked for the point of being paid. So basically, what it sounds like is that you've got a bunch of people that are really enjoying the entertainment part, the performance part, and they're being cornered to get naked because it's just like
yeah.
this domino effect. And that's
Well,
just so
yeah,
upsetting. And I'm so sorry that you
it was
were in that
terrible.
position.
It was annoying because the thing is, I didn't get naked. I had no intention of getting naked. I was like, I would never do that in a pole comp. Like, that's not what pole comps even allow. It's not, literally not allowed. And like, every pole comp I've ever seen, you have to wear pasties at the very least. You cannot
Yeah.
show your full titties. You can't even show the rest of your body. It's not allowed. And I sent an email being like, this wasn't spoken about. And, it was the way it was written in whatever email we were sent was that it was just so vague. Like, I can't recall exactly what it said, but it was very vague. And it was like, people can take off items of clothing if they choose, or people can have reveals if they choose. And I'm like, that doesn't say anything about nudity being allowed.
Yeah,
Like,
and that
people
really
can
needs to be a
remove clothes.
conversation at the beginning. Like you
You
need
have
that
to talk about
consent.
you need to write nudity. You need to write the word nudity. Otherwise, you're literally blurring those lines. And like, there's a reason you didn't write it, and especially you didn't publicize it, because if people saw you publicize that you were having a pole competition in a strip club and allowing people from who were only pole dancers to get nude, people would have said something ASAP. Like, you already
For
know.
sure.
There
Yeah.
are already the workers would have literally been like, wait, that's cosplay 101. Literally
Yeah.
cosplay 101. Like,
Well, I'm sure a lot of workers would be like, "What's the point of me doing this? I'll just go to work."
I'll just go
Like,
to work for a
just go to
competition,
work.
where you may not even win anything. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. So yeah, it was quite insane to the
Mm.
explanation that I was given. And then on top of that, like, when I was like, this was wrong, like, there were people who weren't workers who got nude. There were people who felt uncomfortable. Like, I was told, oh, but this is artful. This is about art. Like, and I'm like, I understand getting nude for art. This was not about getting nude for art. This was a pole competition which relied on audience voting as majority of the vote. And then, because you have majority or audience voting, and it's coming from people where your audience is mostly pole dancers, not
Mm.
workers.
That's it there.
Pole dancers only care about tricks and like
Yeah.
gags. And
Yeah.
respectfully, like, that's not what sex workers
No.
it's not all about tricks and
No.
gags.
No, no, no. Our
We
tricks is
perform artfully.
yeah, yeah, because the end goal is to be paid.
Yes.
Like, I think I get like I do not have a vendetta against pole studios. I think they are fine if we can see the respect of acknowledgement
Yeah.
of where this comes from, why
Absolutely.
we may feel upset when we feel our history and boundaries are being pushed or broken. And
Yeah.
it really frustrates me hearing people use it's an art form as a
An
argument that it's
excuse
yeah, it's an
to
excuse, and
allow
it's
for
like
something.
yeah, but you're hurting people.
You're hurting people.
You're
You're
pushing
making people
aside the voices
uncomfortable.
of a minority group of people. Art does not need to replace that. And it's that
No.
like age old thing of can you can you separate the art from the artist? And it's like,
Mm.
do we really have to go down that track? It's 2025. We're telling you it's hurting us.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was just, yeah, kind of insane because I went out of my way to send an email to like educate, to like let them know that this is feedback so that you can grow. And it just was not received. That's the difference. Like, this is, I think, the biggest issue is like pole comps, sure, you make a mistake, you do something that makes people uncomfortable. That's all part of learning and growing. You get feedback and you reject and rebuke that feedback. That's where the issue lies with me. It's like sure, you can't get it right the first time, but like if you get feedback and you say, I don't really give a fuck about your feedback, it was fabulous, that tells me that you're not going to grow, shift, change, or care about the people that you're affecting along the way. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I even spoke about my experiences being the only Black person in that space, a couple of things that I felt uncomfortable with, like, and even that was met with like, well, other people who were POC had a great time. And it's like, so you're just
So
going to
what, your
say,
voice doesn't matter
we don't give a
anymore?
fuck about, we don't give a fuck about you. We don't give a fuck about how we affect you. Other people had a good time. So that's all that matters. Like, that is so disrespectful to me and disrespectful to anyone who ever wants to walk into that space in future. Like,
Yeah.
I would, the problem is I'm like, I would never recommend anyone I know to do that, to go
Yeah.
do that comp, because it's not safe for you. It's not comfortable for you. Deal with all these weird things. Like, I already deal with the same type of shit of feeling excluded or like undesirable at work in predominantly white spaces. Why would I enter a pole comp and go to feel the same thing when I thought it was about celebrating our
Yeah.
differences? But it was not that. So, false advertising.
Yeah. I'm so sorry that that was the experience. And
Yeah.
it's just so unacceptable. I want to go into that idea that, or your experience of being the only Black or POC person within that comp specifically, in a more broader context. Are you off? Do you find that you're often the only kind of Black or POC person working in these kind of wider establishments?
Not POC. Definitely, there's a lot of POC teachers, instructors, dancers, but
Yeah.
Black, definitely.
Is there any part of you that feels maybe like there's a magnifying glass on you and that you have to carry the weight of the white gaze, the white people gaze?
I have now gotten to a time and place in my life where I just don't give a fuck about that. Like, I don't
I love
care
that.
what the other people think, because
Yeah.
the more I surround myself with people like me and community like me, POC dancers, I'm like, they get me, they see me, they understand how we create, how we move, where we create from, where we move from. And it's a very deep place. Not to say that that's not, white people don't have access to their own depth, but it's like, when you are part of like when you are a person of color, or you have that experience living in this country, like, you have no choice. It's just part of your story to create from your pain, and to have people around me who see that and understand that has helped me be like, I just don't care. Like, it upsets me when I want to enter into predominantly white system spaces and I give everything and it's like still not understood or received it. And I just want to break that mold and be like, you guys, like, you don't have to keep following this same pattern. You don't have to constantly push women like me down, or push us back, or tell us that we're still not good enough. But I think what upsets me the most, more so, is that like, they just don't, I don't think that there's a want, or there's no want for progression for
Yeah.
that. Like, I
Yeah.
think people want diversity in their lineups, but diversity in your lineup or your competition doesn't just mean like having people of color or a black
Mhm.
person in the
Mhm.
room or on the lineup. It's like, okay, what about your judges? What about your criteria? Is your criteria accessible for us? Like, is your criteria already created and built from a system that is all like, is from whiteness, is
Yeah,
from like,
is it
you
the
know,
from the
ticking
white
these
perspective?
boxes from the white
Yeah.
perspective? Like, and that's what I'm seeing and that's what I'm feeling. And I think that's what I think is upsets me, but it's I put that pressure on myself to try and break these molds. And I think the problem is it's like, how can I ask these systems to change if they don't even think that they're wrong? They don't even think that
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's why it's been the biggest, like, for me, the biggest motivator to just continue creating my own spaces
Mm.
where more people like me and the people around me can thrive and can
Yeah.
be understood and celebrated and uplifted. Because why I can't ask to sit at people's tables when they don't want me at their tables, like, you
Yeah.
know, and if they do, they want me to sit at the end of the table, you know, and be grateful for the crumbs that they put on my plate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
It
not going to
becomes
be,
this
I'm not.
tokenistic, like, we just need to tick a box, is what it sounds like. They're not actually valuing
It's just tick a box.
yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, not at all.
We don't
And
need
that's my biggest issue. Like, you can say that you want diversity all you want, but do you actually care about our experience? Are you looking after us? Are you, you know, listening to how we feel about certain things? Like, that's a whole different thing. That's all. It's just, if it is, then
yeah.
this is all just for, if you're not listening, then this is just for show, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Do you think there's any hope,
Yeah.
any spark of joy in terms of sex worker spaces for change in that aspect?
I think there are definitely a lot of people who exist in this country who are really working on that. Like, you know, like I said, El Diablo, like, is someone who's just so committed to
Mm.
like making sex worker spaces or spaces that sex workers exist in safe for them, as safe as they can possibly be, because you can't always guarantee safety anywhere. But, you know,
Mhm.
she actually cares. She cares, she listens, she wants to hear people's stories, like, not just, you know, people around her in her immediate circle. Like,
Yeah.
she's been somebody who I've always, you know, been able to talk to and feel completely comfortable sharing my experience as a black worker with. And then, you know, Paige as well, Paige Cooper, like, she's my pole mentor. Like, she's the first person who ever like went out of her way to like help me learn pole, and like she's actually given me more education about the history than like anyone.
Oh,
Like, she was what helped spark the education for me about like learning that the pole that we do, the stripper pole, it comes from black culture. And she's shown me all these black dances from
yeah.
America. And
Magic City,
she's
baby.
educated about me. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
educated me. So I'm like, she's incredible. And, you know, she also, you know, wants to create spaces where workers can, you know, thrive.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for those two people who genuinely put in the work. It's not just like, I'm saying I'm putting in the work, but I'm not really going to do it. Like, there's a difference between saying you want to and actually putting it into practice.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's next with Pyramid? What's coming next?
Next, well, literally, like I said, today we've been going through the applications for the first showcase that we're putting on.
Amazing.
I was inspired by Black Stage and PDSM UK because I performed at PDSM UK last year, and it
And
was a
you're going again
showcase.
soon, aren't you, to
I'm going again in
London?
October. I'm going to perform there this time as like a guest performer. I'm going to teach workshops for them.
Oh,
Like,
yes, I
I'm
saw that.
so excited.
Amazing.
I'm so excited. Like, this is just insane. And that event really inspired me to bring this back here because, you know, when I walked into the change room of that event, like, first of all, it was the most beautiful space I've ever performed in. But like, when I walked into the change room, like, just seeing so many BIPOC people in the room getting ready to perform and like performing with like so many workers, so many BIPOC, I was like, this is insane. Like, there was a different energy that I've never felt before in a change room, like, just feeling
Mm,
so comfortable and happy and excited and really
gee.
held. And, you know, even when I performed, like, I'm from Australia, like, they had no idea who I was. I wasn't part of that pole community there, and they have a very tight community, and it's very like diverse there, which I love. It's not like that here, but I was like, these people don't know me. They don't know what I do. Like, it could be like shit. Like, they don't,
No.
I wasn't sure because I don't,
Yeah,
but
you
more
don't know
like,
what you're
I'm like, I
walking
don't know the
into.
standard. Yeah. And like the response I got was insane. Like I got an encore. Like it was
Oh,
crazy. People were
I'm
losing
not
it, and like,
surprised by that. Basjia is
but it
a
shook
legend.
me. It shook me because I was like, what the fuck? Like I get more celebrated in a foreign country than I do in my own country, and I've been performing in my own country forever. Like, these
Mhm.
people have seen me one time. I'm getting booked to fucking go teach and perform overseas from one performance. Like
Yeah.
I have to work so hard to get anything here. Like I had to work for like at least 5 years, before people are like, oh wow, like yeah, let's put her on the lineup, or she's fab.
Australia is very slow and very backwards,
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say. I used to live in the UK for a little while, and it's very different. So I
yeah,
hear that.
definitely. I just think that, yeah, I think that white performance and white performance style, especially when it comes to pole, is put as like the top tier of what pole is meant to be.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not, there's room for all styles of pole. That
There
doesn't have to be
absolutely
the only
is.
one.
And, like, look, I will say, as a white girl that's worked in many of Melbourne's clubs, I'm over it. I don't think we need any more dance mum vibe. Like,
Yeah, but
it's giving
let
very
everyone be
Manjuru, like,
themselves.
let's open it up. Like, are we
Yeah,
not bored of this? I don't need to see the same white bread thing. I wanna see diversity. I wanna see different
yeah.
people. I wanna see different shapes, and I can guarantee customers, clients want that too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's interesting because like this is a thing about it. There are literally strip clubs all around Australia that even have limitations on how many black people
Mhm.
or black women are allowed to work in that. And I'm like, you do not have that with white dancers. That's
Mm-mm.
not even a thing. It's never mentioned. You're not going to talk about it. You're not even going to consider it. It's just, yep, you look good, booked. You look
Yeah,
good, hired. Some people are like, we can only have one or two black dancers, or we don't want any black dancers. And I'm like,
it's wild.
that tells me everything. Like, that's racism. Like,
Mm-mm.
that's the racism that rips through this country.
Yeah,
So,
the systemic racism just is so inherent in
yeah,
everything that
everything,
Australia does.
everything,
Australia is built
everything
on, obviously,
on completely,
genocide and racism, but
completely.
I would love to see that change, especially
Yeah,
in a performance and sex work industry. I think it's about
yeah.
time, which is why I'm just so in awe of everything that you do and everything that you
Thanks,
provide for
Boo.
the community. It's
Thank
so
you.
needed and it's so
Thanks, Boo.
beautiful. I just,
It's everything. It's
yeah,
everything. Like it fulfills me completely. And, I work really hard and
I
I
know,
don't
I can
rest.
see.
But like I say all the time, I'm like, I chose this life and I'm doing this. And like, I can guarantee that there were other women before me. Like, there's definitely been black dancers and black workers before me who've just wanted to see change in this industry, but have maybe tried and just been like, then they're not going to change. Like, I'm
Mhm.
over trying. Like, I'm over trying to break the molds and exist.
Yeah, I think it's also that thing of, every person, every generation before us has helped pave the path so that we can
Mm,
continue it.
yep,
And that is true for all communities, I think. And you're
absolutely.
doing like just such an incredible job at continuing that path.
I hope so. I really do. And I just want to keep persevering and keep pushing forward and keep building. Like the people that I even have in my house, they're literally in the living room watching the videos. And they're all performers who I'm just surrounded by, and they are all so different. Like I
Mm,
chose them to be part of this panel because I'm like, you are all so different. You are all so unique. You all have your own essence, your own
mm,
stories. And I'm so inspired by that. And I'm literally just inspired by everybody around me and just want them to like be celebrated in the way that I think that they deserve, or I know they deserve. And
absolutely.
yeah, and that I want for myself and that I
Yeah.
want for all of us. Like, we
It's that
deserve
thing.
it.
Every one of us has, so we're all multifaceted, and
Mm,
that's something that I really want to kind of like platform. We are all so multifaceted, especially
mm,
workers. Like we are not just
yeah.
one thing, and
There's
that
so
needs
much
to
to
be
us.
so. It just needs to be uplifted more. It needs to be
Definitely.
accepted. It needs to be pushed to the front. That's kind of,
Definitely.
yeah. So I've just got a couple of last few fun little fire questions,
Let's
rapid
do
fire
it.
questions, and then
Rapid
I'll let
fire,
you
let's go.
go. What's something that you valued at the start of your career that you don't value anymore?
Oh my God. You said rapid fire, girl? That's crazy. That's deep as fuck. Oh my God.
It's
What's
the
something I
ADHD. It can be anything. You don't have to think deep. You could just be like, hey, I used to really like Coca-Cola and now I don't.
Okay, I have two things. I don't drink anymore because I
What?
don't think that I need to drink to, I don't know, I just don't want to rely on that to be a tool for me to be able to work. And I understand as somebody who used to why girls do, because it's
Mm,
a hard industry and
mm,
talking to men is
mm.
just so much work. So I know you need to like ease your mind, ease your spirit. So I get that, but I don't do it anymore just so I can like not let that be a motivator for me to feel the need to like I just don't want to drink because I feel like it inhibits my work. It inhibits like how I feel
Yeah.
afterwards, like the next
It's
day,
quite
and
all
like what for?
consuming. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
what
hear
for?
that
Like it's not worth it to do that to my body when it's just like I'm at this place. Like if you want to drink, like do it when you're,
with your
at a
people,
party with your
kicking back,
people,
enjoying.
enjoying it, actually
Yeah,
enjoying it, and then also like caring what men think. Because they have
I
who
get
cares? Like
I know.
they'd fuck a doorknob. They'd fuck a doorknob. Like who fucking
I know,
cares? Like
I know.
if they whatever they have to say about me about how I look, I'm just like first of all, take a look in the
Look at
mirror.
you.
Let's talk
Look
about
at
that.
you.
Let's
Yeah.
get into that. Yeah.
Feels. Okay, so what's something that you value now that you didn't value at the start of your career?
I don't think it's something that I haven't valued, but I think I just like cherish it like more and more the more I am in this industry, like just the care between the workers. Like
Mm,
it's my favorite thing. It's been the reason I've stayed at clubs longer than I should have stayed at those clubs, like because the people that I get to work with are like they're just beautiful and special and um there's just a bond and a protection that we have of each other that is like, and an understanding of each other that is just so deep and real and it's everything.
yeah, that's so beautiful. That
Yeah.
really resonates with me. I feel that.
I feel like we all get it.
Yeah, there's something so magical about, the change rooms.
Yeah.
Like it's either
I love the
magical
change
or
room.
hellish, It's one or the other. It's like these beautiful bonds or it's just like chaos and you're like, get me the fuck out of here. I'm retiring right now.
Yeah, for
It's
real.
like this, you know.
Or like us being, it's a quiet night and it's just
Yeah.
the girls on the floor,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I like
you know,
I low key miss those quiet nights where like not much is happening, but then there's this like undertow of like insanity and the girls are just like in hysterics and like yeah.
we're all feeling it.
Yeah. What do you want your impact on the industry to be?
Oh, I just want more Black workers, POC workers, Indigenous workers, especially like I'm not never going to be able to change this industry. Like this industry in terms of like the work industry, like I can't change that. It's governed and run by rich men. How
Mm,
can I change that? How can any of us change that as workers? But I do want those workers within this system to know that this doesn't have to be the only place that you can thrive, that
mm,
you are beautiful, that, even though you might make less money because of your appearance, which is so lame, like
mm,
that, that doesn't that's not an indicator of anything about you or like take away from your worth or your beauty, because I don't let that take away from mine. Trust and believe you should never let that be taken away from you. And then, yeah, like just creating spaces where outside of work you can do the things that you may love or may enjoy, like dancing and
mm.
feeling sexy, but you can actually get paid
Yeah.
and valued and celebrated. That's what I
Yeah.
want.
I think you're creating that and
I hope so.
I really do think you're creating something really new and accessible. I
Thank
think the
you.
current climate of clubs is quickly changing and drying up, and it is
Yeah,
incredibly
it's so
sad.
sad. That's so
But
sad.
I am also hopeful and excited to see what new paths, things that you're doing. I'm excited to see what the future of that is.
Me too. Me too.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you so much, Angel. Thank you for having me.
I'm such a fangirl. I feel
Oh,
so
I'm a
blessed and
fan girl of
honored.
you. Oh, you're
No.
literally the best. You're actually such a real one. I can't even get over it. Like You don't talk the talk, like you fully walk the
No.
walk. Like you are such a real one.
Oh, thank you. I'm
That's
pretty
true.
disheveled today, but I will take the compliment. Thank you. I think I started Harlot with a very clear look. I will say Harlot has its flaws. I think
Mm,
people tend to forget that it's a one woman business. The first year I
mm.
opened, I was pregnant, heavily pregnant. It was a very hard
Insane.
pregnancy. Was dealing
Insane.
with my partner's MS diagnosis. So I think it's that thing, like there's always more to work on with businesses, and you have to take the criticism and turn it into like positive. You have to listen.
Yeah,
So
you can't get everything right. Even for
no.
me, I'm like, I know that down the line, like, there's going to be something that I will need to shift and change to make someone else feel more comfortable and make this better. And like,
Mm.
I and myself, I'm like, have to remind myself that it's important for me to listen and understand and not be offended because I'm doing this on
Yeah.
my own too. Like, I can't get it right the first time. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's a part of the journey. So I think at least with Hala, I've always aimed to acknowledge my privilege and my
Mm,
platform and just want to at least use that platform to stand behind people that don't.
completely.
So Hala always has your back,
I
and
appreciate
I'm
you.
so excited to see everything happen in the future. Is
Thank you,
there anything
Angel.
that apart that you'd like to plug? I know you've got your survey that we
Got my
really need to push.
survey.
Yeah, yeah.
Please, we want to push that. We want as many voices as possible. We really, really do. Like 300, 200, 300 voices. Please, if you're a worker, let us know your experiences. Even if they're positive, that's okay too. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be negative. And then I have the Pyramid Showcase, which will be on the 22nd of August, on Gadigal Country in Sydney. And then just stay tuned for more pyramid things, you
Yeah.
know. Perhaps a competition one day. We'll see. I don't know what that. We'll see.
I'm just hoping that there's a lot more pyramid events in
Oh, there will
now.
be.
And
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
order, I'll
Every
get a
year.
babysitter next time, I swear. But maybe we can start
Please.
like a tiny little
Early.
bit before 12
Early.
for the oldies over here.
I get it. I get it. I'm an oldie. I get it. Oh my God.
It hits hard. It hits hard
It
quick.
does the next day.
And what are your socials? Where can people find you?
I would say the best place to find me is at Basjia, Basjia. That's my Instagram. Honestly, probably there's the best way.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us,
Thanks for
Basha. We
having
love
me,
you so much.
Angel. Love you.
Thank you
Thank you
all
so
so
much.
much. Thank you all for listening to Harlot Hotline. Don't forget to follow Harlot Shop on Instagram, and we'll see you all soon. This is Harlot Hotline with June Jones, and thank you so much for listening. A big thank you to all of our guests for showing up with honesty and fire. For guest links and Harlot merch, check the show notes on our link tree or on our Instagram at Harlot Shop.